Hello and welcome, I am Gary Reaver, and this is a bit of an impromptu video. A while ago I was recommended to check out the Disney series Amphibia by Keychain, the same person who recommended Arknights. I really enjoyed Gravity Falls, so I was open to another Disney series. And it turns out it is amazing, you should definitely check it out. Season 2 is currently airing, and it is shaping up for a lot of mysteries, and basically this video is my theory about what we're going to see in the rest of the season, and if they do one, Season 3. First things first, spoiler alert, this will contain spoilers up to and including the Third Temple, which is the latest episode to air at time of recording. Fair warning, this will be a bit rambling and disjointed. I'm still sort of making it up as I go. I've sort of written out a master theory, as I call it, and I might just things might spark while I'm talking about it. I guess to kick it off, I reckon Amphibia was originally ruled by a frog, a newt, and a toad working together. This is indicated by the picture we saw briefly in the sleepover episode, and it has a pink frog, we'll come back to that in a sec, a big blue newt who looks exactly like Andrias, and we'll come back to that in a sec, and a toad, which we'll come back to in a sec. I reckon it is Andrias, both because it looks exactly like him, because it makes more sense from a story perspective, but also when he was first introduced, it was like he's been Peacekeeper for 1,000 years, first of his name, so I'm all but certain it is the same guy. One of the big twists in this season was that Andrias was revealed to be evil, shocker, I know, and he went and bowed down to a multi-eyed monster. Now that one was a shocker. I reckon the monster is the toad from the picture. Because the thing I noticed is they both have the same pupils, the line with a sort of circle in the middle. I reckon there was some sort of genetic experimentation going on that resulted in the toad ruler turning into the monster. And the ghosts that are sort of all around the basement, I reckon those are failed attempts at whatever they were doing. They buried them in chained up coffins to stop them from getting out perhaps, and definitely to stop people discovering them. And then they surrounded sort of their burial chamber with mirrors, because Marcy mentioned that's a way to stop spirits, and the spirits were shown not to go through the corridor with the mirrors. As for what they were trying to create, I do have a second theory, but I reckon that the walking plant thing, I can't remember its name, this one, it's shown briefly chained up in the basement surrounded by plants. I reckon that is one of their successes, that they crossbred an amphibian with a plant. My instinct's telling me that it could be to solve some sort of food crisis, but that's all I have for that, really. The other possibility is that they were trying to genetically mutate something as a form of control or subjugation, or perhaps even to destroy the people. There was that factory of the automatons, that could have been the first attempt. There were genetic mutations, which obviously failed, but perhaps had some success. And then there's the Calamity Box. Perhaps even they tried those other things because the Calamity Box was gone, but I don't think so. There is the possibility that someone took the Calamity Box to the human world to get it away from Andrias, and perhaps the Toad as well, but again, I'm not quite certain about that. What I do think is vitally important is that the frog in the picture is pink, and I know I'm not the first person to say this, but Sprig is pink. Shocker again. No, I'm not the first person to say this, that Sprig, Polly, and Hop Pop are descended from the pink frog in that picture. Apart from for the strong story tropes, whatever that would be, there's the fact that Marcy, when she saw Sprig, said, "I've never seen another pink frog before." So the fact that they're calling attention to that means it is definitely important. And across the entire series, we have never seen another pink frog. It is just this family. As for the picture, Sprig, when he looked at it, said someone really hated this picture. And again, this was during a chase scene. It must be really important for them to take the time to make that point. This could mean it was torn in anger. I do have a second theory, but I'm fairly sure that it was Andrias who tore it. By the looks, to me, it's like a single giant swipe of 3 claws, and given Andrias' size, he's the obvious suspect. Makes me think it might not be out of anger, but perhaps out of shame, for perhaps betraying the others in the picture. I reckon he killed the frog, or probably more likely, the frog went into exile and hid in Wartwood, leading to Sprig and Polly. This would mean that Sprig and Polly are heirs to the rulership of Amphibia, which should be ruled by a frog, a toad, and a newt jointly. And actually, I've just had a thought, which I will write down and come back to. Just look something up. That is a big thing that I will be coming back to. Anyway, Sprig and Polly's parents were killed by rampaging herons while Hop Pop was out adventuring. I reckon that Andrias discovered that they were still there, that like his frog ruler companion had descendants, and he somehow engineered the herons to go and attack, and it was just sheer chance that there were survivors. He didn't find out that there were survivors until after Marcy arrived, at which point he developed a new plan to get hold of the Calamity Box. But the two big questions I had from Andrias going to speak to the multi-eyed toad monster, I'm going to call it, was he referred to undoing the prophecy and getting revenge. I'll talk about the revenge first. I reckon the revenge is because Andrias probably told the toad after his mutation into a monster that it was the frog's fault, and possibly it was. That way they can get revenge on the frog by killing the planter family, but only after they have the Calamity Box back to full power. If I had to guess, I'd say the prophecy is about Harmony returning through Calamity or something, and is secretly referring to the three girls bringing Harmony to Amphibia, or perhaps it's about the frog returning and reclaiming their place as a ruler. Either way, something that Andrias wouldn't want to happen. As for the Calamity Box, I reckon it was originally made by Andrias and the Frog and Toad. I think this because of colours. The three colours of the gems are pink, which we've established is strength, Sasha's colour, green, which is intelligence, Marcy's colour, and there is blue, which is heart, which is Anne's colour. Take a look at this picture again. There is a pink frog, a green toad, and a blue newt. This makes me think that perhaps the toad did the mutation experiments, the intelligent thing, and also that the frog created the robots. Not just because robots are a sort of strength thing, they're like a strong army that you can have, but also, what purpose does the robot factory serve? What purpose does Frobo serve? And why, upon seeing pink frogs, did Frobo follow them across the entire width of Amphibia? It's because it recognised its creator. It recognised the descendants of the pink frog. It could be that they're not related and that it just saw a pink frog and assumed, but I doubt it. Through all of this, I had the theory that maybe, because I've got multiple conflicting theories here, but I'm just sort of putting everything on the table for you. There is the possibility that the pink frog was actually the bad guy back then. That the pink frog did mess up the toad's genetic mutations, that the frog did want to subjugate people using the robots as an occupation army. The two reasons I think this are because the robots are no longer in use. If they were genuinely a way to control the population, surely Andrias would be using them. The mutations, they clearly had some fruit, even if they didn't work completely, so why were they stopped? Because the toad was now a mutated monster. The only thing left is Andrias and his Calamity Box. So, here are my theories for what will happen in the rest of this season and possibly a season 3, but we're sort of really steaming towards season 2 being the big conclusion. It's obvious at this point to me that Marcy is going to betray Sasha and Anne. When they discovered the box was fully charged, quote unquote, I'll come back to that, Marcy was worried that they would open it. She didn't want them to open it because she knew it would work, they'd go back, Andrias wouldn't get the box. I reckon she's made a deal with him because they discovered that secret passage and went downstairs and we never saw what happened. I reckon Andrias has made a deal with Marcy, she'll charge the box, give it to him, and maybe they stay in Amphibia forever. I don't really know. Part of me thinks that Marcy enjoys being there too much, playing this role that she's playing, but I know that is a theory that other people have come up with. I won't talk about it too much. What I will talk about is the eyes and the glow. Every time they fill a gem, the girl's eyes sort of glow their colour, blue for Anne, green for Marcy, and pink for Sasha, and then the colour drains as the gem fills up. I reckon this is the quality or their energy draining from them and powering up the gem with their strength, their intelligence, their heart, whatever. I reckon upon returning the box to Andrias, he will then take it for himself, betray Marcy, whatever, and then he'll use it to resurrect something or overthrow something or some other insanely big evil plot. I'm still in two minds about whether he's going to use it to subjugate or destroy. I'm not really sure. I also think that he will use the box to sap the qualities from the people who powered them up. Like, he'll sap Sasha's strength, he'll sap Marcy's intelligence, and he'll try to sap Anne's heart. But that last one won't quite work. Point is, he's going to do something really big and insane with it. It's going to be a big dramatic conclusion, and the box will break at the last minute. The blue gem is going to conk out, because it didn't fully charge. It only filled about halfway, maybe 3/4. We saw it flicker when it was on the box. It's not going to work when Andrias comes to do something, and perhaps it wouldn't have worked if they tried to go home. But in addition, that's why it won't completely sap Anne's heart, because she didn't give all of the heart to the box. And this is just a complete offshoot. Perhaps Andrias, because he is also the blue one, he is like the one who presumably contributed the blue gem, he will try to fill it with his own heart or determination, and it'll not work, or he won't be worthy, or perhaps it'll drain him, turn him into like a little newt tadpole or something, and that'll be sort of how he's defeated. I reckon the box will break and or become unusable, and then it'll be revealed that the power was in the girls the whole time, and that they can just go home if they all get together and decide to do it. Sorry, like I said, this is a bit detached, but I'm trying to keep stuff lumped together. Regarding Sasha and Grime's uprising, they're still on with that. Sasha was originally pretending to make things up to Anne, and then when Anne showed her trust in Sasha, Sasha actually began to come around. I don't think that's going to get a massive conclusion, because I think, in fact, Grime's going to be the good guy. I reckon they'll begin their uprising. Anne will initially oppose it. Marcy will, of course, side with Andrias. But then, of course, Andrias is evil, so he's going to reveal his evilness. And Anne and Marcy will then join in with Sasha and Grime to overthrow him, defeat him, whatever. Which raises the question, with Andrias defeated, deposed, whatever, who is going to rule Amphibia? Because it has to be ruled by a frog, a toad, and a newt to bring harmony. I reckon it's going to be Hop Pop, Grime, and General Yunan. Yunan is an odd one. She was originally a sort of weird, wacky, interesting enemy in the Grimes and Sasha side adventure. But then she appeared to talk to Andrias right before the reveal of him being evil. She said about how the frogs are growing in discontent, the toads are meeting up. Basically, the entire sort of discontent is growing, and Andrias wasn't concerned at all, because he knows when he gets the Calamity Box, won't matter. But the point is that she's come up again. She's appeared twice now. If she was just going to be an antagonist, she wouldn't have appeared again. At least not in a neutral role. And then I thought, what about Emma Planter? Because at first I was thinking that Emma Planter, who was the honorary planter who was actually a newt, would be revealed to be a descendant of the pink frog, because Emma Planter is pink. And I thought, oh yep, that's the descendant of the pink frog, and she interbred with the planter line, producing the pink frogs we have now. Yeah, General Yunan is also pink. I reckon she is a descendant of Emma Planter. Emma was an honorary planter, at some point returned to Newtopia, continued to live there, had descendants, then we have Yunan. And I reckon she will defect. When Andrias is revealed to be evil, Grime and Hop Pop's rebellion comes to fruition, because Hop Pop is, of course, the face of the Frog Rebellion. They come up to face Yunan's army. Yunan realizes the planters, they're the ones that my ancestor was good friends with, that we're basically the same sort of honorary family. And that will be the connection she needs to defect, creating the three, the toad, the frog, and the newt, who will overthrow Andrias and bring harmony to Amphibia. Well, that's about all I've got for this. I'm going to continue watching new episodes, but I don't always get to watch them as soon as they're released, so leave a bit of a gap before you post spoilers. But I really want to know what you think of these theories, and I proposed a lot of variant theories here. Some of them are contradictory. I'm just sort of throwing out every idea I have, everything that's occurred to me. I dare say there are things I've missed, so if there are, please do let me know. But this is the best Amphibia theory I've got. I've been essentially sharing the bits and pieces with Keychain as I've gone, and she was the one who encouraged me to turn it into a video, so thank you very much for that. Check out Keychain on Twitter, it's linked in the description, and she does art and various other things. Thank you very much for watching and for listening to my rambling theory. I may do an update if I get more ideas. But until then, I will catch you later.